One thing I'd like to mention really quick is how I work in terms of what things I have open. This is something that I always try to get guys who work with me at Reddit and now Hitmonk to do. You've got your browser, you're running your things in it, and you've got your editor with your code in it. Your browser's got some pictures, some text. If your screen is big enough, I like to have them side by side, but sometimes that's not the case. Something people often neglect is having your terminal nearby. I almost always, like whether I'm doing App Engine or my own stuff, run the app server out of a terminal so you can see the logs. If you're developing without being able to see your logs, there's so much stuff you're going to miss. I find many bugs just by using my website as I'm developing and watching how the log scrolls, because many times there's an error that you're not even aware of that could be a big deal in production. You could have fixed it in 5 seconds if you had just noticed the logs scrolling weird. And another important thing, and this is one of my frustrations in App Engine right now, is it's critical if you're writing code that writes to a database that the queries that you're running are printed to the log. I've kind of tried different strategies of hacking my App Engine to print every time it runs a query. Because if you've got some complicated setup with your database and your cache and your mem cache and maybe a local cache and all sorts of things, you want to make sure it's working. And I know when I'm developing, I often introduce bugs that somehow prevent something from being cached properly. And if I'm browsing along and I see all these database queries scrolling by that shouldn't be, that's a sign that something's broken. And I want to make sure generally that every page I run doesn't hit the database unless absolutely required. If I see a query running that shouldn't be, I can catch it by just having the log open. Try to get in the habit of when you're switch from your editor to your browser that you instead switch from your editor to your browser plus a terminal so you can see things working. You start to get a sense for how the log scrolls when your website's working normally, so when it deviates, you can detect it faster. You'll save yourself a lot of heartache doing it that way. Now, I'd like to move on to how we actually built some of these websites that I've been referring to.